Hey guys, welcome back. This is Andy McCann, owner of CrossFit Garage. I'm here with
Levi, McCann.
and this is also going out on YouTube. So he's helped me out with my technology, and so maybe it'll be cooler, maybe it won't. We'll see. If you're on podcast, then no worries, just listen in. So our podcast is dedicated to helping you build a strong foundation for life in fitness, food, and finances. Typically, we focus on fitness, a lot on food because that's the base layer. But if you are going to have all this health and fitness and you want to live a long time, you better have money. So these things kind of all go together. I'm working on a podcast name, so if you've got one that you're thinking, hey, this would be an interesting name for the podcast, send it to me. My email address is andy@crossfitgarage.com, so it's really hard to remember. It could just be called The Garage. I don't know. I'm still working on all this. Levi's my mastermind on how to make all things cool in the social media. I don't know any of this stuff. I'm just barely making this work. So if I need to edit anything, this guy does it all. Yeah, so anyway, today what we're going to talk about is habits and how to create those. So this is kind of, Levi sort of knows what we're talking about, but what he's going to be doing is adding in some of the color commentary from him growing up and seeing what I've been doing. And maybe it plays along in his life, or maybe it doesn't, or if you're a parent who cares, you probably want to give some of this to your kids. So you can hear it from a 17-year-old's perspective on his journey, especially with club soccer and a lot of the things that have to happen there goal-wise, as well as building habits for taking, what did you take? How many AP classes did you take last semester or last year?
5 last year.
So you had 5 AP classes. I didn't even have 5 AP classes offered in high school when I was in high school in 1902. So I'm pretty amazed that he made it through that. I barely ever saw him study, so he had built up some habits or some processes, right? So processes are good, but habits are gooder.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So to really make this work, it helps if you know your purpose or your vision. So Stephen Covey, in his 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, what he does is he says, imagine you're dead and someone's reading your eulogy or your epitaph. Yeah.
You want to switch it to show them?
Oh, I should probably put that book on there. You want to find it?
No, you already did.
No, I didn't. I didn't pull that one up.
Yes, you did.
No, not Stephen Covey's.
Yeah, you did.
No, he wrote a different book. He wrote 7 Habits.
Oh, I thought you didn't pull that one up.
Yeah, so how about this?
Sorry, podcast people.
That's right. Type in 7 Habits. So, oh, it's close. You just got to spell it right. Look, dyslexia runs in my family. There it is. It's the first one.
I also read that one.
Did you?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's it right there. So 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's been rewritten and re-edited multiple times. It's a great book. It's sort of like if you're going to start anywhere, start here. And the place he started with is How to Win Friends and Influence People and Zig Ziglar and those guys. So he sort of bundles all that up and gives you some great advice. But anyway, if you were at your own funeral, what do you hope they say about you? That's the best place to start, at the end. So most likely you're not going to say, your spouse gets up there to say, well, I know he really wished he worked more, right? That's just not what they're going to say. Or I bet you don't want your child to get up there and say, man, I really know that he wished he spanked me more.
Yeah, I would not say that.
So those are the things that we do, but we don't want people to talk about. What you probably want to say is, hey, he was a loving husband. He was a dedicated father. He was very involved. He was very helpful. He was giving, right? So these are these qualities that you're thinking, yes, I like those qualities. If you don't like those qualities, you probably shouldn't be listening to this podcast. But if you like those qualities, then you want to start there and you want to sort of force rank them to come up with a purpose or a vision. It doesn't have to be succinct in a sentence like, I will go to the moon with, it doesn't have to be like that. It just has to be qualities that you find endearing to you, as well as maybe the people in your life that you want to, what takes priority. So for example, this is actually jumping ahead, but this is a good example. I was out mowing the yard, and so I want to do a good job with that because my wife has said, please do this for me. I'm like, yes, she wants me to do it. I don't really care to mow the yard, but I'm going to do it. Now, my kids do it for a totally different reason. We'll get into that. But so she said, please get the yard mowed. I'm like, great. We were out of town last week, so we kind of got backed up. I'm like, I'm going to wake up 6 a.m., do my normal drinks, my smoothie, no coffee, and then I'm going to get out there and, I said no coffee, and start mowing. So I'm on the mower. I got this new contraption. It's one reason I dislike mowing is I'm in my head all the time, so I don't like to be in my head too much.
Yeah.
I like to...
Everything's too loud, so you can't listen to something.
Right.
And it works better if you have like some type of wireless something, but...
I got one, and so I bought that.
Yeah, now he does, but we used to not have it because some Bluetooth stuff.
Right,
Mom,
so my wife is
yeah.
very much not into the Bluetooth thing, which I'm okay with. I'm happy to live with those rules. The funny part was when I bought them, Levi totally threw me under the bus.
I felt so bad. Because, okay, so mom is the type to like say like we're so against this, and then like she sees a cool pair of headphones and she's like, I'm gonna buy those. So there were just these Apple headphones sitting on the island, and I obviously was like, hey, I thought we weren't supposed to have those. And so I was like, hey mom, are those yours? Apple.
I had actually already moved them, and he was like,
No,
wait,
they were still.
Oh, they were still
No,
there?
wait, no, you didn't.
No, they were. Yeah,
But I was like, Mom, were those your wireless Apple headphones? And she was like,
what?
What?
Who bought those? And so yeah. So anyway, I got these headphones, and so I'm mowing the yard. Yeah, so that's a whole different story, but it is funny. You know me, I'm the king of tangents. So I'm on the tractor because it's a really big yard. It's a huge field, and I'm mowing around, and I'm listening to a podcast. I'm like, this is great. It's got noise canceling. I really enjoy this. I could mow all day now, and my phone rings. I'm like, who's calling me at like 7:30 in the morning? So Evie's at Camp Highland, and they said, hey, she's kind of sick. Could you come get her early? I'm like, okay, great.
Stay over summer camp.
Yeah, stay over summer camp. So she's been up there for a week, and in my life, it typically is going to go something like in my force ranking, my wife, myself, my kids, right? And then work. Something like that, right? It doesn't always work that way. Sometimes, someone's got something really important like, Dad, I know you're busy, but I have to go to graduation, and can you drive me? I'm like, yeah, okay, I guess I'll drive you. So, right, sometimes the situation merits that you switch those around. But, so Verity said, hey, you need to mow. I'm like, okay, I'm in, right? The next thing in there would be me, and I'm trying to, do something for her. I'm listening to the podcast, so I'm enjoying this. I'm almost done. I have about 30 minutes left. And they called and said, hey, you need to go ahead and come up now. Now, I was going to leave in about an hour anyway, so I had to decide, do I stop mowing right now to go pick up my kid? And in the list, she's in the top 3. She's number 3. She's a kid. I'm going to go do something for her, right? So I'm going to go decide that I need to stop this and go do something else. So it was pretty easy choice. I just had to look at it and go, yeah, I'll come back to it. It'll be okay. But these are these things. If you have it force strength in your head or these values in your head, you can make choices easier, and you don't necessarily need all the goals and all of the a point-by-point instruction manual to make it through your life. So you have guiding principles. On the other side of it is the feelings, right? So I like be kind. And usually when I ask people, hey, what would you put on a billboard for doing a podcast? I say, hey, what would you put on a billboard for people to see? I think almost 80% of the people have said something like be kind. And I'm like, yeah, I'm into that. So that is a value, and it's hard to say like, hey, Levi, were you kind today?
Hopefully.
Yeah, and you're like, I don't know, did I track it? But if you have that value out there and you know the things you would like to do to be kind, you become a kind person. Rather than saying, as a goal, I will hug 6 people. I will tell 4 people, you're beautiful, right? I mean, yeah, that's kind, but that's like forcing yourself into it rather than the emotion of I am a kind person. What does a kind person do? Okay, so that's purpose, that's vision. Do you have any of those for yourself? Do you have anything that you find is like, this is who I am and what I like to do, or a purpose or a vision?
I like to make sure everybody's laughing. I forgot.
Yeah, you got to speak up a little bit louder.
I
8 mics going on here.
Yeah, I like to make sure everybody's having a good time when I'm with people.
Yeah, so I like that. I like people to smile, which weirdly gives me party anxiety. So if I have people come to my house, I'm always super anxious, like, are they all having fun? But if I go to someone else's house, I don't care if we're all having fun, and I don't think it's the party perdurner, the party the host, thank you. I don't think it's the host's job to make sure I'm having fun. But weirdly, when it's at my house, I feel it, and I know it's not true, but that's what it is, right? So that's a good one. So I like to make people smile. So weirdly, my backup mode of uncomfortable is also make people smile. So it's hard to understand what I'm doing sometimes. You're like, are you trying to make everyone laugh because you just like for people to have fun? Or are you feeling like oppressed or whatever? No, oppressed isn't the right word, but yeah.
Synchronize well so they can
They do, then no one can tell what you're doing. Are you mad? No, I'm not mad. I'm just making jokes. Okay. So you want to cast this vision, then you want to set some goals around it. So goals are good to have. This isn't how to set a goal podcast. We've got another one that we've already done on that. Maybe I'll do it again. But you want to use SMART goals, so it's specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based. So if you do that, you'll come up with action plans that make sense. So I want to be a great soccer player. Okay, great. That's a good vision. Now what? Then you can start setting goals under that. A good soccer player, so you can have the emotions. What is a good soccer player? A good soccer player has these skill sets, right? Okay, so if a good soccer player has good footwork, what do you need to get good footwork? Okay, so now we get down to the what do I do? Well, I probably should juggle and I should probably go to practice.
That sounds familiar.
That's right. So that's just part of it, right? So, but you got to cast the vision first. Who do you want to be? Another way they say it is you are on a ship and you are sailing for a destination. If you don't put the destination in place, then someone else is going to sail the ship for you. So I want to get to London, England. How do I do that? Well, I've got to, tilt my rudder in the right direction. So having a vision gives you a destination. Having the destination makes your effort work, but you then need the goals or the actions to kind of get you there, or the wind in your sails, if you will. Okay, so if you can track your goals, that is awesome. I don't do as much tracking as I used to. There's very few things that I do track. I usually go mostly on values so that it's a little bit easier. But let me give you an idea behind the idea of a value-based or just a quality-based type of statement you could use. When I was a kid, my dad said, "Hey, you like wrestling?" I'm like, "I certainly do." He's like, "Well, I've been listening to Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy and all these guys, and they're really big into positive mental attitude, or PMA. Have you heard that?"
Yes.
Okay. So he said, "Tell me some characteristics about a wrestler." I gave him characteristics, and he then wrote up and handed back to me the wrestling mantra, which I said for 4 years in wrestling. I don't know if I can say it without messing up because it's been 30-something years, but I'm going to read it right here. So it's, "I am a wrestler. I know my moves and execute them with quick, fluid motion. I am agile and flexible and can maneuver easily. I am an awesome wrestler. I win my matches." So those are all qualities of a wrestler, but there's no action plan in there. There's no vision casting. It's just, this is what a wrestler is, and I'm saying those things and breathing it in. It's like talking to yourself in the mirror, right? Positive mental attitude goes a long way, but I think values go a little bit further. So then we go to another one. I had my kids write up a statement we talked about in the car one time. Hey, tell me all the things that you find useful or to be a good person, or things that we find important, and then I sort of massage them into a statement. So I'm going to have Levi read what we call the McCann Kids Anchor. This is when they were in like kindergarten and 5th grade, whatever they would say it. I should probably make them still say it, but did it help you at all ever?
Maybe. I feel like that's hard to quantify because you don't know what would have happened if
you didn't
have it.
Sure.
And
so
it's not like something that's like tangible. Like I can tell it helped me here.
Right. Well, I mean, it could say like I made a decision based on it.
That's
Maybe
true.
Not. Okay, so Levi's going to either say it or read it. I don't know if he has it.
I can remember it.
All right.
I'll cover my eyes so I'm not reading it.
Okay.
I am a McCann, and I am loved and I give hugs. I am confident in my ability and rely on God. I do my chores and homework to the best of my ability. I am pleasant and polite and will defend my brothers and sisters. I learn the Bible, and I'm a good sport. I'm happy and proud to be a McCann.
That's actually, so you got it all right. That's pretty good. So we used to say it in the car. So a mindset change, I have to drive my kids to school because then they went to private school. Rather, I get to. And when I get to, we have, 10, 20 minutes in the car, whatever it is, to talk as a family. And so we came up with this, and they would say it in the car, sometimes with much
not wanting to.
pain and angst. But
I will say, the way he got us to learn it was good. So there's 4 of us, and he had a first, second, and third place prize.
Oh, did I? I don't even remember this.
No, because it was $20, $10, and $5.
Okay.
So whoever figured out first was 20, then second was 10, and so on.
And the last person got nothing?
So that's why Evie doesn't know it.
She's like, whatever.
She doesn't
no money
really
on the
even
table.
remember it. But I remember you gave it to us, and I was like, oh my goodness, that's $20. And I was in like debt to Evan or something at that point.
That's true.
Because I was
that was a good lesson too. So Levi borrowed money from Evan, and it took him like 8 months to pay it off. So.
I could have sworn it felt like 5 years.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. So it's a good lesson on delayed gratification and money. Mm-hmm. And so weirdly, they say that if you can teach a kid delayed gratification, there is a huge carryover to success in life. And delayed gratification is actually in these books we're going to talk about. Okay, so cool. I didn't know that he would remember that, but thank you for saying that one. So if you have these things it makes it easier for you to make decisions, right? So the other thing that I know that I really want is I want to trust people, which can be dangerous. But Stephen Covey's kid, which I think is also named Stephen Covey, wrote a book called Speed of Trust. And so you can speed up your business by trusting people, or better said is trust that they will believe in the principles or values. So at the gym, we have 3 questions that the coaches or anybody in there that can, if they can answer yes to these 3 questions, it's do it. Don't ask me, just do it. And so the first question is it good for members? Yes. Okay. We'll keep going. Does it hold true to our mottos and values for the gym? So basically, is it health and fitness related? So if somebody said, let's build a pool, I'm like, yeah, probably not going to work out. And the third is it at least revenue neutral to positive, right? And so they're like, yeah, if it's a yes to all of those, they don't even have to ask. So many times you guys will say something like, hey, do you know when Hot Shots is? The event that Jamie does. I'm like, I don't. And they're like, how can you not know? I'm like, well, go through the 3 things, right? So it's good for you. It holds true to what we do. And for the gym, it's revenue neutral. We don't make anything on it. And she's able to give money to a great cause. So I'm like, yeah, do it. You don't even have to ask. Are we going to have a Christmas party or a holiday party? Whatever you guys want to call it. And yes, because it holds up to those 3 things, right? So you don't even have to ask that stuff. So if Danny wants to do a driven merchandise test, like let's test some powder, answer those 3 questions. It's going to be yeah, right? So let's do it. So if you have these values put out there, then you can speed up everything in life. You don't have to worry or wonder what you should or shouldn't do in these times. It is said that character is who you are when nobody is looking. Ooh, pretty scary, right? Okay. So the best way to get these things kind of settled in your life, once you have that vision cast, goals are nice, tracking them is nice, but creating a habit that makes the goal or the step gonna happen anyway, because it's habitual, is the best way to go. So what kind of habits do you have and do you like? Do you have any habits that you like and do you have any habits that you hate, Levi?
Well, right now I do have some habits that I like, but they'll probably be bad for me.
Okay, what is it?
Like, I have a habit where if I walk through the kitchen, I have to eat something.
Yeah, right now that's good. So he is 17 and trying to gain, so that's right
good. Now it works out well for me, but it's not even something I think about. It's just something I noticed I do recently. Like if I walk to the kitchen, I like get hungry.
Yeah.
And I'll go eat something. And then even if like I had dinner like an hour before, like I'll eat something even if I'm completely full. So it's probably good now, probably bad later when I'm like 45.
This is something that we'll get into later, but this is the cue ritual reward. So the cue is, hey, I went through the kitchen. So unfortunately for us, or for him at the moment, to get outside, you have to go through the kitchen.
Yeah.
So there's really no way, well, I suppose you could go through the front door, but no one really uses the front door, which is weird. I don't even know why houses have front doors. Everyone uses like garages in the back door. Anyway, so the cue is I went through the kitchen. The ritual is I get something to eat. The reward is the satiation of the dopamine hit from food, or the knowledge that, hey, part of my value system right now is I want to be a bigger teenager. And unfortunately, he's got my genes, which means if he wanted to, he could ride a unicycle and juggle, which he hasn't done those 2 together.
But not gain weight easily.
But so I'm only 165 pounds and so
15 years and a lot of steroids.
Yeah, I'm huge. So in the video, you could see all these guns that I don't have. Okay, so that's a good one. Do you have any other habits, either good or bad, that you can think of?
I mean, I used to have some pretty good habits related to soccer.
Oh, true.
Juggling. Like, I used to be pretty bad at soccer, but so I was on like the C team, which is like A, B, C. Like C was the worst one, and so I was I think I was maybe like 11 or 12. I was like, hey, I'm kind of tired of being bad. And so I was like, what do a lot of good players do? They can juggle for a long time. So I was like, I'm going to go juggle and learn to juggle. So I made a habit. I would juggle before practice, and I would kick a ball with me around the house, like one of the small ones, not like actually kick, because then I'd break stuff. But I would just bring a ball around with me and juggle it around. And
technique ball, the small ball?
Yeah, and I got really good at it. But yeah, one of my favorite sayings from that, one of my coaches who didn't like me.
That was a lot of them. If we count up all the coaches, we did another podcast on soccer that, or club soccer. I'll put out sooner or later. I forgot.
I think most of my coaches have either liked me or been like neutral. This is the only one I know didn't like me.
Okay, so what did he say?
But he came up with a saying that every good player can juggle, but not every good juggler is a good player.
Yes. Well, so they do say that.
It's true,
Yeah,
but it was
yeah.
insulting.
Right, so-
because he would look at me.
Right. So Levi, it was kind of funny. He could juggle for 15, 20 minutes.
I was also,
and,
like-
and he would be like all over the place juggle. So like heads, shoulders, whatever. And the guy would, I remember him saying that. He's like, it doesn't mean you're any good. I'm like, I think, put him on the field. I think it means he's pretty good.
I was in like 6th grade, and so he like didn't play me.
Yeah,
But
that's
it's-
pretty
it's
funny.
all right.
Oh, that coach. Yeah, so we can't always use names because,
Yeah.
everybody in Woodstock listens to this and
Literally
right,
every
everybody,
person in Woodstock.
I wonder how many people are in Woodstock. It's probably 100,000. Okay.
You should, if you're listening to this and you're in Woodstock or Roswell or our area and you know us personally, you should
text me.
text him
and
or
say,
like-
I'm listening. That would be
or-
great. So we
or
get
like, or like email him.
Andy at CrossFitGarage.com.
How many S's does CrossFit have? One? Two S's in
Yes,
CrossFit?
CrossFit is 2 S's, so you can look it up. Okay, so in the idea of value, be kind. One thing I always do is if I'm walking into a grocery store and I see somebody coming out with their cart, I will wait non-creepily by their car and say, hey, can I take your cart in when you're done? And they're like, oh, yeah, sure, thanks. And so they'll do their groceries and then I'll take their cart and just bring it in, right? Or if I'm walking in and I see a cart that people park like up on the ledge, it's just sort of like, oh, it's kind of like halfway there. I don't know, just don't hit it, right? I will take that. Or if I see a cart that is just like out in the wild, like between cars, I always take that because it's eventually going to roll and like damage somebody's car. But that's just be kind. Is anyone going to care? Probably not. But I know and I care. Right? And so I know that when you do these little acts of kindness, wherever they are, it's going to build up inside of you. So another one could be like, my value is, for the sticky Y for CrossFit is I want to be able to coach my kids in soccer. So what does that mean? Well, I need to have a healthy mind and body. I've got some Parkinson's and Alzheimer's in both sides of my family, or one each side. So keeping my body healthy, keeping my mind healthy is pretty important for me. What's that?
We do?
Yeah, so both my grandmothers
Okay.
had one of each. So the daily habit of CrossFit or the attendance of CrossFit is my habit, right? So I show up. I have a Google Calendar, which Levi can tell you is pretty extensive.
Yeah.
You could see his
like-
face when he said it.
Oh my goodness. He'll have he's gotten to the point where he's like so good at calendaring it that he'll have 2 things overlapping and be like, I know that if I finish this one early, because I do finish it early a lot, this means go ahead and go on to this, but I still give myself enough time that if I don't finish this early.
So I take it, I Tetris it, so I'll move it. So on Monday, let's say actually a good one is Tuesday, I do a lot of lead calls for the gym. If I can't get to it on Tuesday, I'll just slide it into a Wednesday. And if I don't do it on Wednesday, I'll slide it to Thursday, right? So I keep the block there. So I slide them up. Anyway, so I have in my calendar, 7:30 a.m. is my normal class time. I have that every day. And, oh, no, don't show people my calendar.
Why not?
I'll do a whole video on it.
Okay.
If you look at it on one day, it's just, you can't really tell what's happening. It's too blocked.
I
It's
know,
on
that's what I'm
Saturday.
saying. I was showing them how blocky it is,
Yeah.
and everything's mixed
I
together.
do. I am red in there, so there's a lot of red, which annoys the kids, but they can just click it off. But anyway, my point is, I have on there the habit of attendance. On the calendar, I know if I put it in there, I'm calendar driven, I will get there and arrange my day so that I can work out at 7:30. If for some reason I can't, let's say I'm coaching the 7:30, 8:30, 9:30 class, then I'll put in there go at 6 a.m. That's a little bit harder for me because then I got to wake up earlier, which means I need to make sure I go to bed earlier. So I'm going to put that in my calendar as well. Or I'll go to the 4 o'clock class and I'll just move it up there. So anyway, knowing that I want a healthy mind and body is a thing, is a destination, but the habit of attendance is what gets me there. It's the wind in the sail, okay? Does that make some sense? Did I explain that okay?
Yeah, you did. It was good.
Okay, so what we're going to move into is how to actually create those habits. So we're 24 minutes in here, and I'm finally going to tell you how to create a habit. So we talked about it already with Levi. So you have a cue, a ritual, and a reward. And it's really to understand that. So I'm doing right now I'm trying to get off of caffeine and coffee. And I am journaling that in my phone so that I can create a podcast just for that. So right now we're on day 6. So far I'm doing okay. And I walk you through these steps, but this is basically it. You want to journal the who, what, where, when, why, and how. And the last thing is, what are you thinking, right? So not like, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? But like, what's going through your brain at the time? So as an example, the habit of, I wake up at 6 a.m. It's just when you turn 50-ish, you just wake up at 6 a.m. I don't know why. So I wake up at 6, I go into the kitchen, and I start making my morning smoothie. I drink the same thing every day for the last like 9 years. Is that about right? Maybe longer.
A long time.
Yeah, very long time. And I drink the same thing every time. So inside of that, once we had that long vacation where everyone had to stay home for a while, I don't know if I can say that out loud without getting kicked off of different platforms. So when we all stayed home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because they ban you if you say that word.
Really?
Yeah, so you don't say it. Yeah. YouTube, I did a thing on the top 10 causes of death, showing how basically eating healthy and doing CrossFit would help all that. And at the time, it was number 3. And I said it, and I went back to the video, and then both Facebook and YouTube had taken it off.
For saying it.
Because I said the word. I guess I can't think of any other reason why they took it off.
It's a real thing.
Yeah. I don't know. And it was on the CDC site, so it's so weird. Anyway, so yeah, don't say it. But, okay, so I picked up the habit of coffee. And I normally don't drink coffee. And most of you who know me know I don't really need coffee. I got enough energy. And coffee doesn't really even do the thing it's supposed to. Caffeine does not have the effect on me that it has on most people. I literally can drink a mug of coffee and go right to sleep. It doesn't do anything to me. It's very weird.
It's an ADHD thing.
Is that what it is? Yeah. So dyslexia and ADHD come together to make superhumans. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Sure.
So I want to get off of this. So my cue is I'm in it's the morning time frame. I'm making my smoothie. I will turn around and turn on the pot, the Instapot, the kettle. Thank you. I'll turn on the kettle for the water to heat up. I always put lots of water in there so my wife will have some when she gets up. And then while I'm making my smoothie, I'll get the coffee, grind it up, and I'll let it do the steeping and all that. And then the coffee be ready. Then I'll take the Vitamix and I'll make it coffee with butter in it because that's sort of bulletproof. And I'll hold it off to the side. So I'll do the smoothie, then later on I'll start drinking coffee. So I like to wait for about an hour after I've been up to drink coffee. And that's what I was doing. So the what is I'm making breakfast. The where is I'm in the kitchen. The when is 6 a.m. Why? Because I'm hungry and this is what you do. How? I get all of the tools out from the cabinet that are right there and put it all together. So the bad thing is my morning smoothie and the coffee for me is all together. And what? I'm making breakfast and coffee, right? And then what am I thinking? So going back when I'm trying to avoid the habit, I can really think about what am I thinking? If I'm thinking, I really want that warmness, right? Then, okay, maybe can I swap it out with some herbal tea, right? Or am I thinking I need that pick me up? Okay, well I know that'll come later on once I get off of the addiction to the caffeine and the spike it gives me. I will just be peppy no matter what. So you journal all of this. And if you can write it down and watch the commonalities, then you'll know. So for example, Levi says, hey, I know when I'm older, I probably should stop eating like this. So he needs to, when it's time, he journals it. I snack when I go through the kitchen. Okay, why? What's the cue? Kitchen. The ritual is I get a snack. Why are you getting a snack? I'm bored. I'm thirsty. A lot of times a cue for thirst, people interpret as hungry and it's not, right? So maybe he replaces it with, okay, I get a glass of water. So cue ritual, now I've changed the ritual. And the reward is, well, I'm satiated with water, but a little bit different. Or maybe he drops down and does 10 push-ups, which gives him the reward of, ooh, I just exercised. So that's another dopamine hit, but a different type.
Yeah.
Right?
One thing, just went right out my head.
Okay, I'll keep talking until you get it.
I was...
Welcome to being 50, buddy. So journal it. The more you can write down, take a little notebook like this and write whatever you can down and keep going. Everything in there is important. The who, what, where, when, why, how. And then what are you thinking? What's going through your head, right? Especially when you're trying to rewrite a habit. Okay, so that coffee experiment will come out sometime. I'll put it together. I'm going to journal a couple more days and then let it go for a month or something. What I wanted to move into right now is the book, Atomic Habits. I'm going to go through some of the bullet points that I made in the book and then Power of Habit. So 2 books that I really enjoy and I would suggest everybody listen to. I'm going to give you the Cliff Note version and the bits that come out that become important to me. Levi, if you see anything in there that you're like, oh, I've done this or I feel this or whatever, jump in and just, give some color commentary. So the first is in the Atomic Habit, you want to make small choices over time to yield something great. And I did a lot of text to voice when I put these together. So it says POW great. It's supposed to be yield something great. So it didn't quite catch it all. But anyway, it's the small change that really matters. So if you do something like, let's go with nutrition, because that's near and dear to most everybody's heart. If you do a calorie deficient diet plan where, hey, I'm going to eat, instead of 2,000 calories, I'm going to eat 1,000 calories. Well, it's too drastic. There's too much change. Yes, you will lose weight, but almost everybody gains more than they lost back within like a month or two, right? So it doesn't really work. So it's a small change. And these small changes, you want to relate back down to habits, right? So habits are small things. You need to drink some coffee.
Dude, I just like sneezed 3 times, yawned. Oh my goodness.
So it's a small change. So that's what you want. So a small thing like, in order to make myself go to the gym in the morning, I put it in the calendar, and I put my clothes out the night before, right? It's a small change that helps me get into the habit of going, right? Next, you get what you repeat. So if you do this over and over and over, you will get it. So it's not how long does it take to make a good habit. It's you gotta go blow your nose. Thank you. Yeah. So you can't record nose blowing, or at least you'd have to cut it out. So it's the repetitions that you get. So if you're doing something that only occurs once a week, then you're only getting 52 options to practice it in a year. If you're doing something that occurs daily, then it's 365, right? Or twice a day. So it's the repetitions that really matter, not the actual time domain. Okay. So this is a delayed gratification. So the most powerful outcomes are ones that are delayed. So Laura had a great podcast with me, and I didn't even know this, that she started at the gym at 230 pounds, and she has dropped tremendously. Now she's done it over time, over many years. And so while I can say, yes, I notice it when I think back, because it was a gradual change over time, I don't really notice it. And she just is who she is. And she is great at her movements, as well as her consistency to the vision that she casts. So delayed gratification is where it's at. Okay, the next one is to shift the identity to become the person that you are. So rather than saying, I want to be fit, you say, I am a healthy and fit person. Once you identify that, or I am a good soccer player. Okay, once you identify that, what is it? What does being a good soccer player mean? So once you start saying you are that person, you start making choices like that. So I am the type of person that doesn't eat sugar. Well, what does that look like? Right? And so those are the things that happen. So become that thing, identify with that as something you already have. So something else that they use, like if you ever follow Alcoholics Anonymous, one thing that they have found, it's super successful. It's been going for years. It gets a lot of people out of alcoholism. And the one piece that scientists hate is they say you must believe in God. Now, they've distilled that down and done some experiments. And it's not that you believe in God. It's that you believe it's possible to get to whatever goal it is. So either there's a power that'll get you there, God, or the universe, or whatever you want to call it. Of course, I believe it's God, but something will get you there, or I believe because of my internal grit that I can get you there, right? So you need a belief that you can make it. If you say, I am a person who runs the 4-minute mile, but you're like, yeah, there's no way I'll ever run a 4-minute mile, then it's probably never going to happen to you. So be the person that actually believes it. Okay, so I already did that one. So something in the, this guy expands it. Instead of just being cue, virtual reward, it's the cue, it's the craving, it's the response, and the reward. So something that you can do to help yourself is make it obvious. So what is the cue that you're looking for? Make it attractive. What is what's going to happen in there, right? Make it easy and satisfying. So you're trying to create a habit that is like taking the clothes, folding them up, and putting them on the floor before I go to bed. That way, look, it's easy, it's obvious, right? Then you also want to make it satisfying. So if you're trying to get rid of something, there probably needs to be not just a punishment, but some sort of reward. Like, hey, I removed coffee. Well, put something in there to reward yourself. What is that going to be? Okay. Any of that stuff? Questions on any of that stuff?
Nope. Pretty straightforward.
Okay. So another good one is habit stacking. So this is an easy one. You're like, hey, I would love to start flossing. Well, great. When you brush your teeth, you're going to do that every night. Stack the habit of flossing on top of it. So go ahead and buy the materials, put it right by your toothbrush. Boom, it's there.
I can't habit stack. Like,
you can if you really want it. You have to say, I am the person that does this.
Okay, well, maybe that's my problem. But I've found that, like, I don't remember what it is. There's been times where like we've written like stuff that I need to do on like a sheet of paper. Or is it falling off?
A little bit. I'll just move it right there. Keep going.
There's been times where we like write something that I need to do on a sheet of paper, like I don't know, maybe
Whatever,
when I was
yeah.
like 10, like clean my room
Sure.
or something, and I would put it on my mirror right next to where I would wake up, brush my teeth, do all that stuff. So it's on my mirror. It covers my face. Like when I look in the mirror, it's like dead center of my mirror. And after like a week, I would go into my bathroom and do everything. I wouldn't even I wouldn't even think about it. I wouldn't even be like, oh yeah,
So-
it's there to remind me. I would just like not remember about it at all, even though it's like literally right in front of me.
The easy answer to that, you know what it is?
What?
You didn't want it. I wanted it.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, you have to want your own goals. Parents, this is why we can't push goals on top of kids. We can punish them, we can reward them into some sort of behavior, but they won't do it unless they want to do it. So it took two of my older kids when I was saying, you should juggle because it's awesome. And then I was like, whatever, I give up. And then Levi, without prompting, said, you know what, I'm probably going to juggle because he wanted it, right? So this is why those didn't work. I wanted it. But of course, parents, you want your kids to do chores. So this is a tough one. In many cases, you want to edit the environment. So like on the coffee one, I've got the coffee right next to my materials that I use for my smoothie. So I should edit the environment. I haven't yet because my wife also uses some of those materials and I don't want to make her mad. She's high on the list. So this,
She's number one on the list.
she's number one on the list. Coffee is somewhere down here like at 10 or 11 or whatever, but it's not way up there. So I don't want, so you should edit your environment. So for example, I have a friend who said, I have an issue with drinking and it's always when I go out to eat at dinner, I will drink and then I'll drink too much. So now he said, I just don't do dinner appointments. If anybody wants to meet, I'll do breakfast, I'll do lunch. Because you know what you don't do there? You typically don't drink. So I'm like, hey, that's great. I have a problem with breakfast meetings because I will drink a lot of coffee. And so I know that'll be a thing. So I've got one coming up and I'm like, I'm going to plan ahead and get some tea ready or whatever. So that, right, so there's another one, plan ahead when you know you're going to hit adversity, but that's coming up. So you want to create a better environment so that it's easier for you to actually get through the issues. So you will have temptation, but what you want to do is like sort of just alluded to, you want to have an answer for it already. So for example, I want to go to the gym 4 times a week. Okay, great. What prevents you from doing that? Well, I just don't really care. Okay, that's a totally different thing. You have to believe and you have to really want it. So first, you have to make the decision, this is something that I want. Next, let's put it in there, make an appointment with yourself like I do on my Google Calendar. I'm going to go to the 4 p.m. class. Okay, great. When you don't go, why? Well, my boss called me or he emailed me or he texted me. Okay, so let's go with boss. Something comes up and gets in the way. In this case, it's a boss saying, hey, I need you to do something before you quit for the day. And you're like, well, I'm going to go to the 4 o'clock class. So you can have some pre-recorded responses for the issues or your stumbling blocks. I wouldn't suggest this, but let's say your boss emails you and you're just like, whatever, I'm out. And so you just walk away and you're like, I had it on silent. I had it on, do not disturb or whatever.
It's a great way to get a step closer to being fired.
That's right. That could be trouble, right? Or you could answer and say, hey, I got your response. Is it okay if I get back to you in about an hour and a half? They're like, oh, okay. Or be more specific. Hey, I got your text. I will get right on that at 5:32. And they're like, wow, this is oddly specific. So they're probably going to say, oh, okay, sure, because there must be something really important. If they go back and say, no, this is really important, otherwise you're fired, yeah, of course, do that. And then push your gym to 6 p.m. This is why I always work out in the morning, because if I don't do it in the morning, the other stuff in the day sort of catches up to me. Anyway, have answers to the problems that are going to pop up. So have you ever had something that you already knew, like that the coach was going to ask you something and you're like, oh, I already got an answer for it, or the homework was due and you already were like, no. If they ask me to like stay after to do more work, I'm like, no. I got pre-planned answers to get out of.
Oh, yes.
Yeah?
I have had like times where I'll have something like in my head, like if a teacher like mentions something during class and is like, oh, I'll have like Levi, can you should stay after class to help with like this one kid because like I see you're doing it really well. Like try and teach him it here right now, and then if he can't get it, then stay after class for a minute. I'll like be thinking that whole time like soccer practice. No,
gotta go to the gym. I gotta coach. I gotta
dad.
Right.
My dad's mom's cat died.
So if you have answers to this already, it just makes it easier to say, I'm going to keep this. I mean, I wouldn't say lie to people, but hey, if I get to your email at 5:32, is that going to be okay? Oh yeah, sure, that's fine. So a lot of times bosses send things and it's not actually that urgent. All right, next one is surround yourself with people that already have the results you're looking for. So they say that if I think it is something like you're 60% likely, 66% likely, so 2/3, you will be obese if you hang around with more than like 2 or 3 friends that are already there. So on the flip side, if you hang around with 2 or 3 friends that are already fit, you're 66% more likely going to aim yourself towards fitness because you become the people you were like. Show me your 5 best friends, I'll show you your character, right? So surround yourself with people who already have what you want. So using Alcoholics Anonymous, that's a great one. So they say in 90 days, you need to go to 90 meetings. So that's 1 meeting a day. So if you're surrounding yourself with people all the time that are already going through it in there, then you're probably going to be able to make it through that. If you want to meet people who love books, you should probably surround yourself with people in a library or a
book club.
Yeah, book club, Barnes & Noble or whatever, right? Does Barnes & Noble still exist?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the other one that went out of business.
Books A Million.
No. Are they still there? Are they gone?
Maybe.
I don't know. There was another one, Barnes & Noble and... Oh man, that's going to bother me. There was another big book one that went out.
Just look it up.
Yeah, no. Look it up. Don't look it up. I like to just ponder stuff.
I'll look it up.
So the other one is change from I have to I get to. So the mentality of I get to work out or I get to be healthy or I get to pick up my kids from soccer or whatever, right? Get the reps in. We already talked about that. Your habits come from reps, not from time. So the frequency is important. Reduce the friction for your habit. So again, using the working... Borders, that's it. Hey, good job. Thanks for looking it up. You never heard of that one?
Nope.
So
out of business before I was like 6 or something.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like, everything's like 5 years ago for me. So reduce the friction of a habit. So using the gym analogy, I want to go to the gym. Well, what frictions are already in place? Well, so I tell people all the time when they either text me, very few people call me. If they call, they're 50 years or older. But they're like, hey, I'm interested in CrossFit. The first thing I ask is, where are you located? Not because I am creepy, but not because I'm creepy. It's because close reduces friction. And that's usually really helpful. Now, you may find the closest gym is not the gym for you. That's okay. Then broaden your scope. But reduce the friction in the things you want to do. So if I want to get off of coffee, reduce the friction. Get the coffee out of the area where my smoothie is made, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Do you have any things that you've ever done where you reduce the friction so it makes it easier for you to do a habit or a course of action?
Let me think.
Think about that.
I don't know. I don't think about my...
What about having creatine on hand?
Oh yeah, so
that's probably a good one.
To make me remember to take like my creatine, like pre-workout supplements, all that stuff. For a while, I had it in my car, and then I realized it was probably not good to have it like baking in the sun as it got hotter. But for a while, I had it in my car, and it would be in my center console, and I would have every time I got to the gym, I would grab my keys, and I would always I don't look when I grab my keys, I just feel around for them, and I would always touch the creatine bottle and the pre-workout bottle. I'd look over and I'd be like, I should do that, and I'd get my cup and then put them in, and then I found out, well, I'm forgetting my cup a lot. And so I moved everything inside to the cabinet, and now before I go, I always try to remember to bring a water. I think I'm pretty good about it now, and so
here's an example of habit stacking. When you go to leave to get in your car,
I walk through the kitchen.
But what one thing do you have to have for your car to work?
Keys.
So where could you put your keys in order that you always remember to get your creatine and smoothie and stuff?
I don't want to put my keys in that cabinet.
You could I'm just saying.
If it was like a problem where I was forgetting to grab it, I would put my keys.
But these are the things you can do. Like, well, what's the next habit? If I have a habit of putting my keys in the cabinet, then when I go to get my keys, I will remember to do all the stuff because I literally can't drive without them, right? So these are things you can do. Okay, so reduce the friction. So the other one, there's a couple more here. Actually, I guess you can see it on the screen if you're looking at that. And then I guess just got a few more bullet points. But so another one you can do is have a contract that specifies a reward or a punishment, or either with yourself, or you can make it with somebody else. So this is something that I'm noodling for the gym is I did an informal survey of the PM class, and I said, hey, what is your keystone habit? We'll get into that in a minute. here at the gym? Like what would enable you to get the most fitness out of this gym? And then how many times a week do you want to come? So most people said attendance. I mean, like, well, that makes sense. I mean, if you don't show up, you're getting nothing. So if you just show up, I mean, I know this for a fact. For 15 years, I literally just show up and do what the coach says. And here I am at 50 doing a legless rope climb, right? So how many times do you want to come in? Most everyone said 4. My God, that's actually my goal as well. Sometimes I do a run, and that's because my morning is messed up, and I'm like, whatever, I'm going to run. So that is a great goal to have. And then you can make a contract with other people, like to keep me consistent. You know what I need? I need the punishment cycle. So if I don't come 4 times in a week, then I need to sing a song at the gym in front of everybody. Like,
I actually came up with a contract, quote unquote, thing to help me go to the gym.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So, one of my friends, Ben, wanted to lose a little bit of weight, and I wanted to gain some weight. This is back in January, and so I was like, this was in February, but I made a bet with him. I was like, once whatever was taking my time up, I don't remember what it was, something that took my time up after school. Once that was done, that ended in March. I was like, I'll give myself 3 months to gain 15 pounds, and you give yourself 3 months to lose 10 pounds, since it's slightly harder to gain weight or lose weight. Sorry. And then whoever doesn't get it owes the other one $20. If we both get it, it's fine. If neither of us get it, it's fine. But $20. And so even though I didn't hold him to it, because I wasn't going to...
Yeah, the threat is sometimes good enough.
No, I wasn't going to be like,
you owe me money.
Send me a picture of you on the scale. Like, give me my $20.
But maybe we should if you really needed it. Yeah.
No, but he's doing fine on his own.
Yeah.
But it got me into the habit of going to the gym, doing what I wanted myself to be doing. And then after maybe a month or two, I started going, I completely forgot about that until recently. But I started going just because I enjoy going to the gym now, and it makes me feel like I'm being productive.
So that's good. So myself. You had a cue ritual reward, and then you put a contract in place to help you meet the cue. I need to go to the gym. Ritual, I'm at the gym doing my workout. The reward is I feel the dopamine hit. I feel good about working out. So contracts are good. So this is something I'm going to experiment with. I don't really know how to do this yet, but what I'll probably do is survey everybody, make sure that we're all roughly in the right category. So I'd imagine 80% of you, I just need to make sure I show up, and I want to show up 4 times a week. Okay, great. If 80% of you want to do that, then I probably can get 50% of the 80% on board to do something. And of that 40%, then quick math there. You see that? Half of 80%. So
crazy
let's call it 40 people. That's easier to deal with. So of the 40 people, I would assume there's probably going to be 3 categories that arise: those that need some sort of punishment, those that need some sort of reward, and those that just need simple accountability. So we'll create groups and say, hey, everybody, you're in those groups. Let's see how it goes. I don't know where we're going to go with that yet, but I really want to help people with that keystone habit. What is it going to be? I think it's just showing up for us. Okay, so contracts. Another one is to, if you make a habit that is too easy, you just aren't going to really care. If you make it too hard, you're also not going to care. So it needs to be just challenging enough. So if your habit is, I just like to wake up and breathe, you're like, yeah, that's going to happen anyway. But if you said, I would like to make a habit where I wake up and I spend 60 seconds breathing, doing intentional breathing, that's different. But it's not really that hard, but it is different. Let's do it. So once a minute becomes easy, maybe I make it a minute and 30 seconds, right? So make it hard to obtain, but not unobtainable, like those SMART goals. And the last thing, so this is actually very fascinating. When you look at like an Olympic athlete, and you look at someone like Michael Phelps, he's a swimmer, right? Yeah. So you look at him and all the swimming he did. It's not that yes, I know his body was designed, whatever, this and that, but the guy that was beside him that came in second did not have that body design. And the thing that he did that was really, really tough, and any of those guys, if you're going to the Olympics, this is what you do that's really, really tough. You master the mundane. You have to get out there and swim the laps. You will never become a better swimmer unless you're actually in the pool swimming. You know what is super boring? Swimming the laps, I guess. I don't know if it is. I can't swim. I sink. But, right? So doing the mundane things can be boring. Now, driving to the gym is mundane and boring to me until I realized you could listen to podcasts and books at times 2 speed. And I'm like, I love it. I wish I had a longer drive. Levi just started listening to some of the books that Evan and I listened to. Have you ever found yourself going, hold on, I really like what I'm doing. Or I wish the drive was drive a little bit slower, because if I drive a little bit slower, I can finish this chapter or something.
Yeah, there has been times where I'll be like, I've been doing it for maybe like a month now, month and a half, and there's been more than a couple times where I'll be about to get somewhere, and I'll be like, damn it, I didn't put my headphones in my car, so I can't listen to it as I get out, so I'll like sit there for a minute longer, and then so now I've just started bringing my headphones with me.
That's why I always have mine everywhere, and this is why I had to tape mine, because everyone took them, because I really use them all the time. So we're the last vestions of people who still use headphones that plug in, because of the whole circling back to the
No Bluetooth?
Bluetooth, yeah. Anyway, so the other book, I'm still going through it, but I think it's got some great things in there, and I want to kind of throw these out here for y'all to be thinking about. It's Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, I guess is how you say it, or Duhigg. Anyway, the first is the keystone habit, and that's the habit that everything else could be built on, right? So I chose CrossFit Garage. If I don't show up, then you sort of blew it, right? So the keystone habit is I need to show up. Literally, I promise all of you, if you just show up and do what the coach said, a year from now, you will be fitter. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you want me to put money on it, I will put money on it. We track and measure everything. I guarantee if you just show up and do what the coach says, you are going to be healthier and fitter for sure.
Crazily enough, that is what we ask most members to do.
Just show up. That's it. If you show up and the coach has your best interest in mind, their job is to coach you through this, right? A lot of you know what you're doing, which is great. You can speed it up. But just show up. Okay, the next one is delayed gratification. Really, if you think about that, you can look at Laura and her journey to drop from 230 pounds to less, or me just doing health and fitness over 15 years. Delayed gratification. If you come to the gym and you're like, I want to deadlift 400 pounds right now tomorrow, let's do it. I'm like, well, how much do you deadlift right now? 200 pounds. I'm like, yeah, it's not going to work. You're going to hurt yourself trying to get there. And I can attest to that, trying to get to a 400 pound deadlift. I hurt my back and I suffer for it now. I have to always roll out to just keep things, where they need to be.
I don't even deadlift just because of I feel like there's so many injuries for lower
if you go
back
too heavy,
deadlift, and I feel like I would be prone to being like, I can do more weight than that, and then going heavier, and then I just end up hurting myself.
And this is why I'm if you want to use a belt, you do you, boo-boo. But I am against belts because it lets you do more than you should. Your body's not ready for it.
Yeah.
So
I don't use a belt either because of that.
I would never belt up. But if you want to, sure. If it's your PR, yeah, sure. But if you're using it every day, then something else is wrong. We need to look at your back, right? Don't use it all the time. Anyway, willpower is a muscle. You can flex it. They've actually done experiments on this. It was pretty funny. They took a group of college kids. They said, hey, here's some chocolate chip cookies, and here some radishes. You have two different groups. You can eat the cookies and you can eat the radishes. And they're like, what? And so, but you can't eat the other one, right? And so the cookie guys are like, yeah, that's easy. I'm not gonna eat radishes. The guys are like, I really want a cookie and I'm flexing all my willpower to get this done. Then they're like, okay, we have an interlude portion for about 30 minutes. We just want to give you this puzzle, and you can do it if you want to, don't do it. It's just something to fill your time. When you're done with the puzzle and you're like, hey, I just don't want to do this anymore, ring this bell. And so the cookie people spent, I think it was 21 minutes on average doing the puzzle. And the puzzle was unsolvable. There was no way to solve it. And then the radish people on average only spent 5 minutes doing it because they flexed and used all of their willpower not to eat the cookies. The interesting thing is you can grow your willpower, but not in leaps and bounds. It's just like a muscle. You got to do it little by little. Okay. So this is a good one that I like that I think I've already mentioned, so we'll go quick on this one, but write down your plan. So if you're like, hey, I want to go to the gym 4 times every week, I would put 5 times and see if you can make it 5, because surely something's going to come up and ruin the day. But get a Post-it card, post it on your mirror and say, I am the type of person that goes to the gym because I am healthy. I am going to go to the gym Monday at 7 a.m. I am going to get in my car at 6:30, or I guess we don't have that class. We're going to go to the 7:30 a.m. class. I'm going to get in my car at 7 a.m. so I can get to the gym on time and do my stretching, right? So write it out. Tuesday, I'm going to get up. I'm going to leave the house at 7 a.m. again. Actually, I know traffic is bad on Tuesday, so I will leave the house at 6:55 because that 5 minutes saves me, whatever, right? So be very specific, build it out. I'm going to fold my clothes up ahead of time. Write down the plan. Talk about the roadblocks and when you're going to solve them. So in the morning when the dog says, I really need to go outside, great. I made sure the fence is the gates are shut. So in the morning I can toss him out. I'll be back in an hour and a half to let him back in. The last one is to rely on these small groups or smaller groups of like 4 or 6 to help keep you accountable or to push you towards whatever it is. So in this case, it could be the reward, it could be the punishment, or it could just be, hey, we're going to text each other just to make it fun, right? So take a smaller group of people to help you. And this could be, we've already got this divided out. It could be, hey, the 5 a.m. class takes care of the 5 a.m. class, the 6 p.m. or 6 a.m. class, right? So it could be class-based, or it could be, hey, I'm a 50-year-old dad, so it's all the 50-year-old dads are together. Did you go? Yeah. What's your, like, it could be, what's your goal? What's your sticky why? So these are the things you could do to help your health and fitness just by casting out a vision, creating a purpose, and then building in habits rather than having just goals. Goals are great. I love them. But having a habit of doing them would be more helpful. Okay. Anything you got?
Nope, that was good.
Okay. So if you're in the Woodstock area and you're thinking, hey, I'd love some help in health and fitness, come to CrossFit Garage. I would love to have you here. We are happy, humble, helpful people who want to be healthy and fit now, as well as when we're 90. If that sounds like you, then you're probably our type of people. We're also the type of people that really enjoys coaching, mentoring, and accountability. If you love that and you wish people would give you that, then you're one of us. If you hate that sort of thing, you would definitely hate being here. So don't come here. You're going to be like, why are you always texting me? Because I'm always going to text you.
And if you already know us or go to the gym and you're here listening to the podcast, text one of us or email or something, let us know.
True. You can email me, Andy@CrossFitGarage.com, or Levi at CrossFitGarage.com. Right now, that'll actually still just go to me, but he'd probably laugh knowing that y'all emailed him instead of me. If you've got a friend or family member that you wish someone would work with or talk to, man, let me know. Even if they're not in our state, I don't care. If you're not in our state, you live somewhere else, you're thinking, hey, how can I find a gym? Man, that's easy. If you go here, I'm doing this on our website, or if you're on YouTube, you can probably see this, right? So you just type in, actually, I don't even type, let's do CrossFit in Tennessee, CrossFit in Chattanooga. CrossFit near Charleston, North Carolina, or Charlotte, North Carolina, sure. Oh, wow, look at how many CrossFit gyms. So what I would do is look at some of these and say, hey, is this a good gym? So hopefully I pick something that isn't going to piss somebody off. So let's do Ultimate CrossFit. We're going to go to his website. I'm just going to tell you what I would look at, right? So, okay, I like it looks like it's normal people. It looks like their gym. I like that. So our trainers, that's one of the things I'm going to look up. How many trainers? Oh, they got a couple. Ooh, this is actually probably too many. So they have a lot. So
9.
This might be it's 9. Yeah, sorry. Thank you, because they can't see that if they're listening. So there's 9 trainers. That might be a red flag to me. I see that they've got a couple level 2s. So maybe I'm okay with that. I'd really want to look at their schedule to see if there's 9 people. How are they doing? Let me go back. So schedule, they have 9 coaches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's only 7 classes a day. So
what do you mean only?
Well, so that that means a coach doesn't have a specific time frame. So if there's 7 classes a day but 9 coaches,
there's 9.
No, well,
they have 2 open gyms.
Well, open gym's not coach.
Do you think they have a coach that
probably
stays
just sitting
at
there
the open gym?
Yeah. But what I'm saying is that's not a coach that's working with you. You're
True.
you're just open doing whatever. So I don't know. So that's not a red flag, but that's not something that I would be yay for, right? I want something where I know the coach is going to be there in a little bit more constant contact. So let me hit their about. Let's see if they have a picture of the gym. They don't. So it'd be interesting to see like how many square feet. So something you can tell on a gym is if their gym is too small, like 1,000 square feet, that's going to be kind of just a little bit too tight. And the classes are probably going to be really small. If you've got a gym that's way too big, like 15,000 square feet, then they'll probably have other stuff in there that might kind of like mix and mash, which maybe it's good. Maybe they've got jujitsu in there and you really want to get involved with that. So
I would go there.
What's that?
If they had jujitsu?
Yeah, I would totally do that. So they got pictures of the normal people in here working out. Yeah, their gym looks a lot like our gym. And memberships. Let's see. Oh, they got their price. I do like that they have their prices up there. We have it on email. So that's about what everybody's price. So it's about $170. And they got another one. Yeah. So this one's a good one. So anyway, it's not that hard if you're out there and you're wondering, hey, how can I get health and fitness? Will somebody help me? Yes. The answer is yes. It doesn't even matter. I know some of y'all listen to us from Australia. I love it. Thank you. I speak Australian, mate. So I can look at their gym websites too and give you an idea of, hey, this one over that one. All right, guys, we are here to help. If you got any other questions, hit me at email address, or if you're on YouTube, you can post a comment there. I actually read all of those.
And respond.
I do respond
pretty much all
to those.
of them.
Yeah. All right, guys, you guys have fun. Thanks for being here.